Welcome back to the table. Today we have a little bit more board game news.
Yeah.
If you hadn't heard already, they've announced Ticket to Ride,
Yes.
Legends of the West. Now, they did mention this a little over a week ago.
They teased it.
And truth be told, we teased a video, meaning that we actually recorded one, but we're tossing that out because they've shared more details, so we're re-recording this.
Yeah, a little bit more information every day has come out. By this point now, there's been some interviews with the designers, which are Matt Leacock, Rob Daviau, and still Alan Moon.
Yep.
Alan Moon designed the original Ticket to Ride and a lot of the Ticket to Ride expansions that have come out. And then, of course, Rob Daviau and Matt Leacock are famously known as the Pandemic Legacy team. Matt originally designed Pandemic. Rob came on to make it into a legacy game, and they're going to be doing the same kind of treatment to Ticket to Ride, which is very exciting.
Yeah, as soon as we heard those names, we theorized, this has got to be a legacy game.
Yeah.
You bring those two guys on board to do this. And it indeed is. It is not a cooperative legacy game, which we kind of wondered whether it was going to be or not.
Matt is known for his cooperative games, but this is not. This is still a fully competitive Ticket to Ride game with the same DNA of Ticket to Ride. You're doing route building. You have trains that you're putting out on a map. You have cards that you're trying to complete that are objectives containing certain routes. Of course, that's just kind of the basic Ticket to Ride. However, they did tease some things and show some images like this one that kind of allude to what the game is going to look like at the start. But of course, in legacy fashion, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's discovered over the course of your playthrough.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they wouldn't be showing pictures of the game that represent the game well after you start.
Right.
It kind of ruins the experience. But yeah, it looks like you're starting on the East Coast and you'll probably be making your way. And it uses these, I think they're called frontier boxes.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many there are, but there's 12 sessions.
12 sessions, they said, yeah.
12 sessions. I don't know if there's that many frontier boxes, but these frontier boxes, there's like Florida, then there's the Badlands, then there's all sorts of different ones that you go through, unlocking, of course, what you'd expect. New components, new rules, new ways to play, sort of that it evolves the game.
Yeah, the stuff that you'd expect to see in these games. And if you've played through Pandemic Legacy, there's been 3 Pandemic Legacy games. They all kind of took the heart of Pandemic and twisted that formula in a lot of interesting ways.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what they do with this. But there is one thing I want to mention first. And I love this. I think this is brilliant. If you look at the starting setup for the game, it's really just the East Coast, like David alluded to. And the fact that a lot of the frontier packs are cities that you're going to kind of meet, or like outposts that you're going to kind of create as you move east. West, sorry. But it's not just one big empty board like Pandemic Legacy was, where as you discover new areas, you'd get these stickers out and you'd put these huge stickers. It actually looks like you can kind of see the little jigsaw element.
Yeah, it looks like you're actually going to be opening the boxes, the envelopes, whatever, and getting pieces of cardboard out.
I like that better than the stickers.
Yeah, because it was a big board, and then there were some pretty big stickers that were, if you're like me and you put them on, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not exactly right. And then
if it's just like a little bit off, you're like, nope, just scrap it, get a new copy, it's done.
Yeah, that was really cool. One thing that may not be so cool for a lot of people is the price point that they announced, $120.
Oh, okay, yes, I get the gut reaction. $120. People said the same thing about Clank Legacy 2 being expensive as well. And I've said this before, you're going to get 12 hours or 12 games potentially of content, which is probably 2 hours per game. So the investment of time is not much, especially because these games are meant to be played with a group.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at a 4-player game, $120, you split that cost 4 ways, that is not a huge investment for what a legacy game provides. We've played through many of these games by now, and I would say that the experience has always been worth the price.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is that unlike some of those other ones you mentioned, this is Ticket to Ride, which, all due respect, pillar of the industry, obviously.
Oh, for sure. One of the big, giant gateway games.
Gigantic game. Although I just don't know, people they're hungry for a Clank Legacy experience. I don't know that anyone knew if they were.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry for it?
I love Ticket to Ride. We've kind of moved past it. We don't go back and play it. But when I was new to gaming, I had a group of friends that were all kind of new to board games. We played so much Ticket to Ride. I have the giant 10th anniversary edition. I have a lot of the other editions and expansions. I really do still enjoy the game, even though I don't play it that much. And so for me, this is exactly what I need. It gives me a reason to go back and play a game I love that I might not really get to the table.
Yeah, I do think it's a good idea to sort of like inject some new life. Not that it needs its help, because I'm sure the game still sells crazy numbers.
It sells
It doesn't need that help, but it is nice to inject some new life to get some more enthusiast gamers back on board with it, because like I look at it and I'll probably be the guy who's like, I don't know, it's Ticket to Ride, I'm not sure. And then it'll come out, everyone will start talking about it, and I'm like, oh, now I'm getting FOMO.
The theme is very cool. I don't know how much you looked into the theme of the game. So they call it Legends of the West. So this is about like the Western expansion, but it's not necessarily the historical truth of what happened. They said that the game is very much inspired by the myths and legends and tall tales of the West. So there's going to be that larger-than-life tall tale element to the game, which sounds pretty cool to me. I don't know if you remember that.
That's interesting.
Remember that old movie where they had like all the myths come to life? Like it was...
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about? Like John Henry, who was the rail guy, and
I mean, I remember those myths. I don't remember that.
There was a movie where they like all came to life. Anyway, whatever.
That's not gonna. I think we're a little off track here. I don't know that that's going to happen in this game.
No, but they have said that kind of like tall tale inspiration is what's driving them. Like the idea that like there were no cell phones back then. There were no like to reach from what was happening out west back to the East Coast, as they described it, was like a chain of telling stories that would grow and grow and grow, and that was kind of the point at which they started their design process for this. And I think that's a very cool idea for what this game is doing.
That is cool. We'll have to see where that goes. We'll have to see if Paul Bunyan is in the game, if John Henry is in the game.
And was it Johnny Appleseed too that went
Johnny Appleseed?
Who knows? There is a ton of material, and also personally, I like this. The actual Western expansion wasn't necessarily a very happy time.
It's probably not America's bright point.
Not America's bright. So I think that divorcing it from that actual history and going to more of like we're here to experience these tall tales and present like this fun, almost not quite fantasy, but it's got that fantasy tinge to it.
I mean, I hope you know what you're talking about, because I will be interested to see if they do any of this.
This is all from there. This is what Rob has said. Right. Rob is the story guy, so we'll see. We'll see how much it actually impacts the game.
Yeah, if you have any questions about it at all, not that we can answer any of it, but if you do, if you want to talk about it, get down in the comments below, and we'll get down there and talk with you. Until next time, of course, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.